The reason I got involved with the Talisker Whiskey Atlantic Challenge was I got a call in April this year from James Cayle, who's the skipper of the boat. I served with James previously. We were in the same unit. We used to sail together back at the regiment, and he gave me a call, said that the challenge was happening. Was I interested? Obviously I said yes immediately, and it's been going well since then. The Talisker Whiskey Atlantic Challenge is, one of the best physical, mental tests, just because of the exposure, because of the lack of support. It's just you're on a massive expanse of water, and anything could happen really, it's just fantastic. I mean, we're looking at between 50 and 80 days of rowing, 2 hours on, 2 hours off. It's minimal sleep the whole way across. So you're going to have to push yourself to the limits to get across the other side, and it's ideal. Getting out on the water is going to be brilliant. The build-up now has been busy. It's been pretty hectic, actually. So as soon as we dip the oars in for the first time and actually start setting across to get across the Atlantic, will be brilliant. Once we're out there, it's sunsets, sunrises, and stars. I think it's going to be awesome. I think it's going to be quite stunning. It's difficult to set a target. I mean, we're looking, the round figure is between 50 and 80 days. Realistically, we're hoping to do it in 50 or less days. Between sort of mid-40s and 50 days would be ideal for us. Mileage per day is very, very difficult to say initially. The trade winds and the currents we can't really judge until after the race, which makes it quite difficult. We can get a pretty accurate sort of report on it, but you really don't know until you get out there what the weather's going to be like. So personally, I feel physically very prepared. Mentally, who knows, we'll see when we get out there. We individually have been doing our own training. We've been comparing notes with each other as such. So every time we do a session, which is generally 2 hours a day on a rowing machine, on one of the ergo rowing machines. Last week at Wellington Barracks we did a 24-hour row as a crew, so into the sort of routine that we'll be doing on the boat, which is great because it was the proper changeovers and eating and sleeping drills and how, and it was great to see how it's actually going to work. I'd say when we are actually bolted in, because I personally have a different seat. My seat isn't a sliding seat, it bolts on, it clips in. Once that seat's clipped in, I think we are on a very similar playing field. We're on the same sort of level, around all of the boats, not just on our crew. So it's great that we can compete on the same level as the 19, 20 other boats that are in the race. It's excellent that we haven't been given a handicap, or we haven't, we're not leaving 3 or 4 days before the rest of the crews are. We're playing by the same rules, and that's a big sort of part of the challenge that I really, it appeals to me. It's great. Well, I personally come from South Africa. I was born in Durban, and I lived in Cape Town. It's funny, I've not told a great deal of people back home about the challenge, but obviously through the internet, the amount of messages of support and donations that have come through from South Africa has been amazing. Nowadays I live down in Dartmouth and Devon, and the local town have been fantastic. I mean, I've had such great support from everybody. Everybody's always asking about it, and how can we help out in any way, and it's been very good for me. I think it'll be great to return. It's a big gigging, big rowing sort of community down in Dartmouth, and the guys. There's definitely a lot of respect from the guys down there. So long as I don't cry the whole way across, I'm sure there'll be a lot of free beers at the end, which will be ideal. It's one of the benefits of knowing a lot of the landlords, which is great, and I think it'll be a good return.